Greetings to you all, my very esteemed and respected audience, dear clergies, dear brothers and sisters from all walks of life. I am Reverend Obio Cook Cosmas, founder of the EJAGHAM Clergies Association for Peace and Development. I have come to you this morning from the Heaven and Earth Recording Studios, and I want to share a presentation with you all. Today we will be talking about climate changes, environmental protection, the protection of nature. Well, I know it may sound somehow to some people, oh, that concerns but politicians and scientists. Well, I differ from that opinion. And once more, I am doing this with my inspiration from the knowledge I got and the studies I have undergone from that is studying the divine principles, the unification thought. This is a revelation God gave to Reverend Dr. Sun Myung Moon, and they have put in practice these revelations, and they have made a wonderful life, and they are still making a wonderful life. It is God-centered. And I want to therefore share with you, another point of view about environmental changes, climate changes, environmental protection, the protection of nature. And what people used to forget to add is a protection of human beings. And to the other level is a protection of God. That is something new to you all. And I want to repeat to my brothers and sisters, especially the clergies, that in this course, if it is a race, you are all called and to even to become the pioneers and to become those who show the politicians and scientists the way. Permit me to use this my beautiful slide. This slide, as you see, is the role of religious institutions. But no, it isn't only according to that title. It has much knowledge that let us adapt it to talking about environmental protection, climate changes, protection of nature, and protection of human beings, and protection of God. Now, I want us to understand that as we are living today, each and every one of us was born into this world. Remember, you didn't create the world. You were brought into an existing world. I like the Bible very much. The Bible states clearly that Adam and Eve were created on the sixth day by God. Today we proclaim, we know, and we, attend this God as a heavenly parent, a cosmic parent. The God is a parental God, that all he intended to have Adam and Eve and all the creation he had is in the heart that parents have. Parents will want to extend, to multiply their presence through their children. And another interesting thing is that these parents, God, is a spiritual being. But, who has manifested his spiritual being through the physical world. It means that as we are living on this physical world, we are living in a physical world that is a dual a partner to the spiritual world. And in the center of the spiritual world is God. So, dear brothers and sisters, I want us to take into consideration that when we want to talk about protection of the environment, we talk about climate, we talk about, I am insisting of protecting human beings, and even protecting God, we must be thinking of the two systems, the two worlds, the spiritual world and the physical world. They are dual. And because God is at the center of the spiritual world, the physical world is an extension of, another form of a world, but it's like extension of the spiritual world. It means the spiritual world is senior, is closest to God. That is our origin. It's closest to the source of our own being. The knowledge we need in life, the power we have to live, the power to relate and interact with all creation sources from God. And he is our parent. for us human beings, he intended that we become an extension of his substance, so that he continuously overflows through us from generations to generations while we are living on earth and when we go back to the spirit world. Meaning what? Meaning that our motivations, our inspirations, our know-hows to live a life, that permits us to be conformed with this same world that was existing before we came, must have a spiritual side of it as well as a physical side of it. Now, when we talk about environments, most often we are talking about the physical world that we see, the physical creations, and we always forget about the spiritual world. Now, even as individuals who are standing, as I'm presenting to you, I have a physical body, I have a spiritual body, and it is a spiritual body that is responsible to conceive the desires I have to fulfill through the physical body. It's like you have your telephone. It has a processor that processes whatever the telephone has to do from the processor. So the physical, what they call in electronics, hardware, there must be a software and a processor that manages that software. God is like our processor. Our spiritual life, spiritual bodies, and the spiritual world is like the software, and our physical body is like the hardware. Now, if you want to use your telephone rightly, it must be able to be functioning with a good processor and a good software, adaptable to what you want to do. So, brothers and sisters, we are talking a lot about environmental protection, climate changes, protection of nature. If I may ask a question, how many climates do we have? We have two types of climates, the spiritual climate and the physical climate. We have the spiritual world and the physical world. We have spiritual beings and physical beings. Those that are on earth all share both spiritual natures and physical natures. And we are able to interact with the spiritual world as well as the physical world, partners of the physical world and partners of the spiritual world. Now, if we want to talk about environmental protection, we should be thinking of protecting the physical environment as well as the spiritual environment. When we talk about climate changes, we should also be concerned not only about the icebergs on the northern pole of the earth. Sometimes we should be thinking of the entire planetary world, the Jupiters, the galaxies, and so forth. But it's not enough. On the other sphere, we should be thinking of the spiritual climate environments. It is very important. Now, I want us to understand something. Because we are thinking in order to act the right way. If we think the wrong way, we act the wrong way. If we think the right way, we act the right way. Now, what is wrong with our environments? Everything that is wrong with our environments is coming from us, the human beings today. That is why we hold ourselves responsible, thinking on how to protect and manage it. We are the ones who mismanaged it. We are the ones who are destroying it. I think it is because we had evil thoughts. We did not think the right way. And that is why we reacted or acted the wrong way. That is resulting to our own discomfort. I am trying to tell you this story like the case of a madman. A madman looks physically, could look strong, and even have houses and so forth. But the spiritual side of him, if it is bad, he will never do anything good that conforms and keeps him normal. That should conform with the environment. What am I also insinuating? I am saying that the world today that we are living, where our sciences, where our religions, where our politics have ruined this same world. In fact, it is not concerning directly the icebergs. It concerns us, we the human beings, who should become overseers of this creation. We can only become overseers of creation by conforming, by living in accordance to the creation, the dynamics we came and met. Now we reverse most of them. For instance, what are many countries of the world doing today with mass production of CO2, heavy duty factories only for arms? Imagine the billions of different types of airplanes China and America are making, and they are burned, or they are determined to move forward no matter the consequences of the CO2 to the whole world. These are the wrong decisions we make because we did not know how to love one another and think in a universal way as human beings. We took nationality to the detriment of humanity. Now, they are determined to build sophisticated weapons, aiming one day to fight. And because of these heavy-duty industries, we are lamenting, talking about CO2 increase. Well, those are some of the cases you should understand. What is wrong? Our evil thoughts from the wrong spiritual environment, from the wrong spiritual climate. By the time we are evil, we have established a bad spiritual and evil spiritual climate. Because it is already there. For instance, your anger. Anger exists as part of the wrong or evil spiritual climate. And now you manifest it by ruining the entire cosmos, especially the earth and its environment, for the detriment of those evil desires. I hope I am talking something. Now in history, we have understood that the approaches for the realization of a good life, these approaches were dominantly the religious side and the scientific side. They moved in history as antagonists, while the purpose of life remains the same. A good life, each of them have been investing to realize. It is because our minds have a problem. We were divided, a divided mind was established because of the fall of Adam and Eve. We have the lineage of God that is originally sourcing the power of God into us, but it's like bluffed, or that was like, I would say, like Satan, came in and burdened somewhere around by the dynamics of what happened between Satan, Eve, and Adam. And from there, Satan's own substance has been engineering human beings to go the opposite way for which we were created and destined to live. Now, it made us people who, though were meant to become good people, live a good life, we desire goodness, but we realize evil. A push in us. This is the same push that has developed to the worldwide level, creating a bad environment. Now, what should we do with environmental protection? What should we do with climate changes? I want to suggest that by the time we work to treat the spiritual climate properly, we can treat the physical climate. If we want to prevent the nature, if we don't prevent and protect the spiritual nature, our spiritual environment, and our spiritual selves, it will be difficult to manage and protect the physical environment very well. We are the ones doing the odds. This is like the case of a madman. If a madman is not treated of his madness, everything he does will go the mad way. If he has money, mad way. This is what I am talking. And the religious people in history are those who made a lot of effort thinking about the spiritual environment and seeing how to make it better. Scientists took the other side, working to see the physical environment better. Today, we are inheriting from the remnants of the good sciences and the efforts of those who use science the good way. Equally, we should inherit from the remnants of those who use religion the right way. But the truth is that today, both of them share the same vision, the same direction, a good life. If we now, as clergies, can arise and unite with our brothers, the scientists and the politicians, and show them our way forward, all of us should become one people. But the truth is, when we don't invest in protecting the spiritual environment, in keeping the spiritual climate well, we will not do anything better as only with the physical world. What is going on today that the G20s, the G8s are holding very serious climatic conferences to talk about it. They are talking based on their physicals, but they have not understood their minds. When they sit in a meeting, they have different mindsets. Can we have one common mindset as human beings beyond our religious, ideological, our racial and geographical bounds? Because the same climate that we want, and we want to maybe bring about a good climate, and protect the environment. These environments and the climate don't know religious bounds, don't have racial bounds. Even in geography, the way we think, they are not separated. They are interwoven. The tropical and the temperate are not separated the way we think. The tropical gives to the temperate and it receives from the temperate. You all know this. Maybe if you don't know, but it is true. Verifiable. So can't we now come together and talk of bringing and working to cleanse, to keep the spiritual environment upright, and the physical environment will become automatically a resultant upright environment because of our spiritual uprightness. That is what I'm saying. Sometimes the clergies are lost. Even scientists are lost because they get mixed up. I don't want to hear from those people who talk about God, but they are human beings. When it concerns prayer, you don't hear from them, you don't talk anything with them, but they may buy your products, they come to your shop, they may talk to something to you, they do other things, we interact. If you don't need them, the air you live that you need needs them. Be inside the air, all of us are interwoven. We are one. That is what I want to present. Permit me go a little bit deeper and to propose to you the approach today. That is an ultimate and wonderful approach. Let us see from here. These are the two bodies. I am the one you are seeing. This is my physical body. This is my spiritual body. They are living in total oneness, depending on one another, but all of them having unique potentials, all from God. But this spiritual body is closest to God because God is spiritual. Now, if God has to do anything with I standing before you, he comes through my heart, through the lineage. And it is through that lineage that becomes the power of the heart. That propels the heart, the intellect, the emotion, and therefore permit me to use my physical body with the physical heart and everything to manifest what I have desired, what I want to put, to carry out as actions. Now, the God who created us had a system that he created. Everything is living in an interdependency. Everything is interdependent, but it moves towards one direction, sacrificing the lower state for the higher state. That is the basic direction. So everything is increasing and growing. Environments grow and increase. So this God have this power, to float into us through our spiritual bodies. Then the spiritual bodies will take care of the spiritual environment. We will become our spiritual climate will have as attributes, or will have its components. You can talk of true love, lasting peace, absolute sexual ethics, a life of living for the sake of others. These are all the elements of the spiritual climate. And the spiritual environment, we have angels and other spiritual beings with the entire environment, that we interact for this same purpose, that they too can share true love, lasting peace, total harmony, happiness. That permits the world to move infinitely forward. Now, this spiritual body, we will be able to guide my physical body to carry out actions in relation to this last phase of the existence, which is the physical world, the junior world, to the spiritual world. The world that is a resultant of the spiritual world. Meaning that when we do things spiritually, the result is manifest while we are on through the physical things. This is where we now use the physical body. So, now that there are so many things we need to do for the spiritual climate and the physical climate, let us understand what first of all brought the wrongness. What made us wrong? The God who created us did not create us with a power that should be able to bring comfort, happiness, joy, by living against these basic principles I am providing to you. The power we have, the potentials, the vitality, and the all creation around us, all of us have one direction: living for total harmony and living for the advancement, enlarging our existences. That is how it moves. And we can only do that by sacrificing the lower purpose for the larger purpose, living for the sake of heaven, for the sake of our God, and for the sake of the spiritual world and the physical world. But the problems we are facing today, let me remind you, it may sound new, but it is real. The fall of Adam and Eve brought about the situations we are facing today. In the Bible, it is recorded, in the book of Romans, that creation is groaning. Adam and Eve sinned, and their sin concerns their hearts, their spirit body, their physical body, their love organs, their lineage, and again, in a complex form, as a couple, to tie it so that all of their mistakes could be moving from generations to generations. Behold, the power of God could not flow into human beings again. And it was Satan who took over in the parental position, initiating that evil desire. And Satan's evil desire is basically defined by the fact that he sacrificed all God's ideals for his angelic and one angelic kind of desires. He sacrificed the entire existence and the future of the well-being and the harmony of the world for his own comfort. So he's established a system whereby we are imitating today. Angels are those who were fighting. Human beings would not have been able to be fighting if they didn't live under the angels. And fighting broke out in heavens as people tell the stories, Michael and Lucifer and the other people. When we are fighting today, arming ourselves like the militaries of America and China and Russia and the other people, they call themselves big powers, that is an angelic way of life. By the time we become true human beings, we will not think of fighting. We will think to be able to live for the sake of our God, for the sake of the spiritual world, for the sake of the physical world, for the sake of all other people living. This brings us in the status of God's children. So, how are we going to resolve this problem? Today, it is going to be resolved fundamentally, like Reverend Sun Myung Moon, Dr. EJAGHAM Moon have proposed, that the marriage of the Lamb, that God gave them the guideway to reveal and bring and make it substantial in the world, is capable, of course not even capable because it is designed for the ability of removing that Satan's position so that human beings can become reconnected back to God. And the power of God will continually flow within human beings, and originally will have every intuition and the power to be able to take care of both environments. Not as an advice, it will be intrinsic. That is, it will be innate in us. Like the monkeys are taking care of the environment, nobody is teaching them. It's only human beings. So, what is the proposal today? From all what I've spoken, the arithmetic is bringing an implication that if we want a true environmental protection, a true, climate cleansing or making a better climate, if we want a true human life, we have to eliminate the power of Satan. I think it is a very good duality here. The efforts of science and the efforts of the religious people coming together and making us, bring double power to be able to make life so beautiful that the mistake of the environment in ages can be corrected in a very short time. So, I would love that the G20s, the G8, all those big countries, nations taking part in environmental, their conferences for environmental protection, the protection of the ozone layers and so forth, should understand that there is another ozone layer and the environment deep in us that is not yet cleansed. That is not yet, it doesn't have the desire of protecting itself. If we don't have that done, we will not have that power, that true desire, that honesty to be able to carry out substantial environmental protections. What am I saying? That we are victims of history. What I am saying, I wish all of you would not find any place in yourself to be angry. I and you are victims of history. We were born to whatever parents, to whatever environments. We never made a choice. The times we are living, we have benefited from the studies and the archives kept from history, and we can understand what went wrong. We are victims. But I don't wish that we become victims in perpetuating this. We should correct it. It is possible. By the time we can understand detailedly what is wrong with Adam and Eve's fall, which is the change of lineage that installed Satan in them, and we have to change the lineage through the two parents and as couples, we shouldn't waste the time. When we do this, the entire environment, spiritual environment, will be increasing. Great revelations will be coming in science. Great breakthroughs in science will be abundant. In fact, a lot of scientific revelations we know today have revealed from the spirit world. Can you imagine if we cleanse the spiritual climate and make it look good? We clean the spiritual world, our spiritual selves. Ladies and gentlemen, the physical world will automatically start, following our rhythm, because we will be manifesting the spiritual climate good one. Of course, everything will become a resultant good world as we make the physical efforts under the auspices of the spiritual efforts. I think it should be clear. When we don't have the minds, the hearts that are clear, our activities will not be clear. That is what I mean. I wish what I've spoken, what I'm saying, can give a little bit of a way of understanding to the multitude of the people today in their strives to realize, a good environment for life. So the clergies, as I am saying, a lot that has to be done is spiritual. Can we rise up? Reverend Dr. Sun Myung Moon and EJAGHAM Moon have provided every evidence, every truth, every means for us to move forward. They are working ceaselessly. Now, different methodologies, different approaches. Can we think of this, the approach of duality? What will you be doing? Beating a madman every day that he has to keep himself clean. He has to keep his compound clean. Is that the right way? Or it is for this person to be treated of madness, that his madness has to be treated? I think this is the better way. That should be the first step. Let us treat his madness, and we can help him cleanse himself. Ladies and gentlemen, the G8s, the G20s, the powers of the world, I wish you have this video and listen to it and gain inspiration, and you do something greater than you have been doing. In a summary, I want these clergies who want to stand up for this, who want to love God. Remember, you cannot love your people if you don't love God. Can you imagine what God has been going through because of the fall of Adam and Eve? What creation had been going through? We shouldn't feel satisfied. We shouldn't feel already had done something. This is the beginning. Thank you very much. I wish this becomes the beginning. This is a topic that needs volumes of books to be written. I have just brought this little so that it can spice or it can provoke the eruption of your desire for a more understanding. And then we can put concrete actions to bring about a beautiful world. This is a challenge for all of us who are alive. I thank you, and I will advise you the shortest course we should adopt, though by understanding and conviction, we should repair ourselves. Our spiritual bodies and our physical bodies are wrong because Satan has been in us, pushing us against our original desire. I don't understand, brothers and sisters, how patriotic a person is. How an America is so patriotic for America to protect America against China, but doing the things against the world. Where will America be? I don't understand what China should be doing without caring about the world that hosts her. Can China live in a world that is deteriorated, that the climate change has gone beyond human control? No. China will not survive. I wish they should think like this. And I wish they should consider this. And let us make a change. I am out for this. Thank you very much for this presentation. Listen to it. Reach back to me. Let us remain in contact and put our energies and forces to achieve something better. Thank you. God bless you. Our God as a heavenly parent loves you even if you don't think about him. They love you. Our true parents of heaven and humankind, they love you all. They are investing ceaselessly for all of us. Our Lord Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. Of course, all religious founders have invested for the sake of a wonderful world. They all love you. And I love you. May we rise up to love others. Thank you very much. I respect you.